Awesome. Well, that moves us into our jump scares then, if that's what we've been watching. So I will let you kick us
Ah,
off with some jump
um,
scares.
awesome. Yeah. So we picked this topic of jump scares because you'd speak to anyone that's not really into horror and to ask them about horror if they like it or not. And if they don't, they always say, I don't like jump scares. And the ones that they always like allude to are what we like kind of say are terrible jump scares, right? Like there's those like cheap ones that like a flash of light, a loud sound, and that's kind of it. It's there and it's over. And I think they're terrible jump scares because they don't stay with you. It's more of just like a surprise or a shock rather than a scare. So we kind of just wanted to go into and just give like not a shout out, I guess, like just to go through a bunch of like jump scares that we think need to be mentioned because they are jump scares for sure, but they're ones that stick with you, which is what I think makes the best jump scare. So first one, we talked about this last week. I think this definitely came up last week. When I say the word sinister, one word comes to mind, right? And it's lawnmower. The lawnmower scene in Sinister is pretty brilliant. Because it's so simple, but it's like it takes you completely off guard. The just like from the acting of Ethan Hawke, that's one thing in the film. Like we can do a whole episode on Sinister at some time. I love this movie so much. But that one shot of the lawnmower scene is so creepy. Just to think about it, it's like giving me goosebumps. I think that's done really damn well. Like there's a few modern horrors on this list for sure, but Sinister really does need the shout out. The Conjuring. So there's a bunch of good jump scares in The Conjuring. My personal favorite, which I don't think is the best one, but my favorite one's the when she's on top of the cupboard.
Hmm.
Love that one. That one fucked me when I first saw this. That's a great one, but the best one is inarguable. It's the clap scene where they make this game of the hide and seek with the claps at the beginning of the story when they're going through the house, and they use that again to create a brilliant jump scare with the mother. Um, I love The Conjuring. I was talking to a friend about The Conjuring the other day, and he had the great point of like the movie's so good because no one dies. Like they create this horror atmosphere, and all these scares are so damn good, but the fate of everyone is still completely intact. Like that's even
Interesting. I
more
never thought
impressive.
about it that way.
Yeah, it's pretty damn impressive. But yeah, the clap scene. I'll do a couple more, then I'll shoot it over to you. Have you seen Signs? You've seen Signs, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been a minute, so I'm not sure I'll remember specifically what you're going to touch on, but I've definitely seen it.
Yeah, so Signs is one of my favorite. It's my favorite M Night film by far. I think. It might be a hot take, but I think that is his best film. But I watched this when I was a kid, and the people that are fans of it, the birthday scene is horrifying. So put you in the place. You're walking Phoenix, and you're watching the news reports going around, and they're like breaking news. We got this footage from I think it's like Brazil or some South American country. Um, sorry, about this birthday scene where they have like footage of an alien, and it's like all these kids are inside, like looking out the window, screaming, and like the camera's like rushing to the window, and the kids like, look, it's behind, and then at the end of the alley, this alien walks across. Brilliant, so damn good. It's not like a pop out or anything like that. Not jump run towards you. It's just like for a second you see it, and that like completely makes everything that you've seen in the previous like 40 odd minutes just realization of what it was. Like that all the little sounds you hear in the background, that's all like there's aliens everywhere now. So I thought that was done really well. And you touched on Insidious. Insidious is the red faced demon jump scare where it's behind Patrick Wilson. One of the best in modern horror.
Classic. Yeah.
It's one of the ones you see everywhere as well. And a lot of other horror movies are trying to really steal that. I'm not sure if you've seen The Exorcist Believer. Have you seen that yet? Nah, good. I
No.
I envy you. The movie's terrible. I might need a section next week on just Exorcist Believer, just giving you a
Just
heads up.
to vent.
Oh, the movie's fucking annoys me. Um, but yeah, they do the same thing where like behind the little girl for a second is a demon's head, literally in the same sort of place. And I remember I was in the theater watching it, and I was turning to my friend. I'm like, they just straight up stole Insidious right there. That's nuts. That's nuts. That's a couple from mine. I've got more, but like I just want to hand it over to you. And what else have you got?
Yeah. I mean, thinking about Sinister, I think there's multiple. I think the lawnmower scene is definitely the one that makes people uneasy the most, for sure. And I
Easy.
think especially because it's so quick. Like if you consider him watching all the other home videos, that one is the like it just like it shows it, it's quick, and then you're like, oh God, I don't want to look at that anymore. Like it's
Yeah.
just this like 5 second moment that sticks with you forever. So yeah, that's definitely probably the best one. But I also feel like there's a couple with Bagul earlier
Oh
on
yeah.
that got me. Like when he first drops his head in the view, behind Ethan Hawke, I was like, oh shit, like that's menacing. That was the first time I watched it. I'm a little bit more used to it now. And then like when he's out like in the bushes and you first kind of notice him just watching
Yeah.
and Ethan Hawke's like rubbing his eyes, like, wait, am I seeing this correctly? And you keep like looking back and he's not there. Then he's there. It's just, yeah, he's a terrifying villain that I wish they could have done something better
Terrifying
with that
ghoul.
series. Yeah, a ghoul. So yeah, Sinister, I feel like has so many, but those are the ones I thought of on top of the lawnmower. Another one that I thought of was A Quiet Place, which is not one that you would think jump scares, but because it's so silent,
Yep.
actually, it got me pretty good when the youngest son gets killed and he's
Yeah.
walking
At the
on the
beginning.
train tracks.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, when you're not, yeah, that one actually, I don't know if you'd consider that a jump scare, but I did jump and I was scared. So I'm gonna throw
It's
it
a
in.
jump scare.
It definitely catches you off guard for
Oh yeah.
sure, and you're kind of like,
When you first hear that toy, the turn on, and you're like, here we go. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And Emily Blunt's face when I feel like she just like knows what's about to happen. And then obviously you kind of realize that this is setting the tone for the movie because I knew it was a horror film, but still you don't really know how dark it's going to be. I feel like up front, that to me was like, oh shit, like this is the kind of movie this is going to be. So
For sure.
yeah, that was definitely a brutal one. Have you seen Creep?
I love Creep. Oh yeah, Creep's
Yeah, that
amazing.
one. Obviously there's some scenes that aren't necessarily jump scares that are really good, but I just feel like there's a couple times where he pops into camera view when you're not like expecting it, and it
Right.
kind of got me the first time I watched. I think because it's so realistic. I know you said that you would survive Creep
Oh, I'd
because
easily
obviously you
survive
just
Creep. Yeah, easily.
wouldn't do that, but if you are going to be in that situation, I feel like just knowing that it's just this simple kind of dopey guy with like it is more of a jump scare for me at least because it felt very realistic because of the
Yeah.
found footage style of the movie. And then thinking of other found footage, I actually just thought of these as we were talking. But have you seen Wreck, the
Love
Spanish
Wreck.
film?
Wreck's awesome. It's horrifying. It's
Talk
terrifying.
about jump scares.
Yeah, that's like
That
every
movie,
5 seconds.
yeah, that one you couldn't even probably pick one because it's just terrifying from start to finish. But yeah, I thought of that one, and then also Drag Me to Hell is like got one of the most jump scares of any movie ever. I need to rewatch it because I don't remember them well enough, but I did read that has the most jump scares of any horror
It's a
film.
good
So
movie though, isn't it? It's such a fun movie. I love Sam
it
Raimi.
is. It's pretty underrated. And I mean, Justin Long, obviously people love him in horror films, and I feel like no one really talks about that one, but he's great in that one. So definitely recommend it if people haven't watched it. I need to rewatch it. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to add to the list.
Nice. I've got a couple more. You haven't seen Lake Mungo yet. I'd highly recommend it. It's this like Australian mockumentary film where it's a horror, but it's all filmed as a documentary. It's all fake, of course, mockumentary. But it's all about this girl that drowns, and it's all about her family who think that their house is haunted, and they go through all these like overnight like time lapse videos and stuff to see if they see anyone, and like you see some things that look like ghosts, but it keeps like making you feel like you're amping up to a jump scare, but it never happens until like 10 minutes to go, where it gives you one, and it actually like pulls through, and just because it's like conditioned your mind throughout the entire film to be like, this isn't happening, is so good. So yeah, definitely watch Lake Mungo. That one jump scare in it. Anyone that's seen it knows the jump scare. Um, Haunting of Hill House needs to be mentioned, even though it's not really a movie. Um, the car scene in the Haunting of Hill
Oh
House.
yeah, I know exactly where you were going.
Yeah, I think that's the best jump scare ever made for me. I think that's
I think I actually jumped out of my seat when I first saw it.
yeah, Yeah, that one takes you completely off guard, but just yeah, it's so well done. Um, Alien, the air shaft, where the light goes onto the xenomorph and you fully see the xenomorph there. That is probably my favorite scene out of Alien. So I think yeah, that scene alone is pretty fucking terrifying. I wouldn't call Seven a horror movie. It's more like a crime
No.
thriller, right? Yeah, it's a crime thriller. But the waking of Sloth is terrifying every single time because he doesn't look human at all. So definitely just wanted to mention that one. Two more and then we can move on. The Descent. You've seen The Descent, have you?
Oh yeah.
The Descent's fucking terrifying. I love The Descent.
Oh, scary.
I love The Descent so much. But the scene where it goes to night vision, the crawlers are all behind her, and you just see the creature, and you're like, oh, it's just yeah, right. Thinking about it now, it's giving me goosebumps. And Hereditary, there is a bunch in Hereditary that are all so good, but I picked Annie on the Ceiling because that's the one that made me keep my light on right ever since I left that theater. It was so good. That movie's so good. I love that movie.
Have you seen that people like have talked about doing Halloween costumes of like Charlie and the pole?
Oh, that's fucking
Like,
good. That's good.
dude,
That's some good shit. That's some good shit right there.
I would call that scene definitely a jump. I mean, it definitely made me jump when I saw it. That movie is really good. It's just not a favorite of mine because it's almost a bit too much. Like I feel exhausted when I watch it
Yeah,
because
that's
it's
fair enough.
just very draining, like psychologically. But I appreciate it so much. Obviously, Toni Collette is just
She's the greatest
she's
actress of all
insane.
time, in my opinion. I love
She's
Toni Collette.
insane.
She's by
Yeah,
far my
I
favorite actress.
big fan of her. But yeah, no, continue on about the movie.
That's it. That's all I got. Yeah, I
Oh,
was
you just
just
wanted to mention
yeah,
that one?
just that one because yeah, that scene of Ali on the ceiling. Because I like to talk about whenever I talk to people about Hereditary and their jump scares. Ari Aster does it a bit different, where he has some normal jump scares of like people coming out of the shadows and stuff, but he has this way in, especially in Hereditary, where he I call it like a delayed jump scare where he has it on the screen for a long time, but it's only when your brain like starts to realize that it's there is when it becomes a jump scare. Like when I can't remember his name, but Alex Wolf's character, Annie's son, wakes up in the middle of the night at the end, and he sits up and like Annie's in view. She's on the ceiling in view, but you just can't see her because well you can see her outline, but your brain is still like getting used to the shadows, and then it's like that scene that frame is there for like 15, 20 seconds because he's just like listening, looking around the room, but she's just there. So like once you see her, you're like, oh shit, there she is. But she's this is like he puts it on the screen. It's a jump scare when you realize it, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to approach it for sure. I need to rewatch that movie. It has been a couple years since I've seen it. It's a bit of a tough one for me to to get through, so I don't watch it as often. But yeah, that's a great jump scare to end on. So if you
Amen.
guys think of any more, obviously let us know if we missed any. But I think we got a pretty solid list there.